So I had this idea some time ago to give some talks, some teaching, some lectures about some of the iconic, well-known teachers that are popular in much of spiritual circles. So this will be, I thought of it, will be a useful thing for the people who are interested in those teachers, who have been interested in them. Other like Dogen Zen Master, the founder of the Soto school. He brought in Zen to Japan, started the Soto Zen, but he has teachings that are so unusual and wonderful and important that I thought many people need to know about them, because these days you go to the spiritual supermarket, it's mostly people talking about non-duality. He didn't teach about non-duality, he talked about suchness and stuff like that, which I think are important state of realization for people to know. So for Dogen, I want people to know more about him. Other teachers like Nisargadatta, for instance, I'm going to spend one lecture on Nisargadatta. He's a well-known, liked teacher, and was known, got introduced in the book I Am That, which I read and I liked and learned from. But what I noticed when people in conferences, teachings and writing, people mention this, they mention him as a teacher of non-duality, and he is. However, his kind of non-duality and the kind of realization he talks about are unusual. They're not like any that the present Western teachers talk about. So I wanted to bring out the neglected part of his teaching that are very fundamental for his teaching to understand. Krishnamurti is a whole other story. He was the last century. He was a teacher very popular teacher for decades, most of the 20th century. And I see him as some kind of somebody who made a big transition from people not being aware of spirituality and ways of looking at spiritual engagement to more awakening to it. So he awakened many people. And then I'm going to talk about two teachings, traditions. Dzogchen, the Tibetan or Dzogchen thing, which is a non-dual teaching, and Advaita Vedanta, which is a non-dual teaching, because they are brought into the West and many people follow them. But I also notice there are some incompleteness in the understanding of what those teaching about and how to practice them. Because when I study the founders, I study the great teachers, I've known some of them, and how they learned, how they taught, and the Western teachers most of the time don't do what those teachers did. They didn't learn the way they learned. So I'll have a discussion of that and try to help clarify something. I'm trying to be helpful, actually. I'm trying to help people in the spiritual field understand those teachings and how to follow them so they can be more effective. Because I understand them, I think, well enough, because I have my own experience of realization and understanding of those teachings from inside out. So in all of these lectures, I'm trying to be useful, helpful, both for the spiritual discourse in general and for students who are interested, who know one of those, are engaged in one of those.